Assalamualaikum and a very good evening I bid to all. So for the question of the fundamental reason for acquiring the aircraft. Under the fundamental reason for acquiring the aircraft, there has several factors or reason. The first is replacement of the existing capacity. As we know that the aircraft must be replaced due to its life cycle. So under the replacement of the existing capacity, they have several points, which is the first is very high cost. So for very high cost, the old aircraft will have the high consumption cost compared to the new aircraft. This is because of the fuel burn and also maintenance cost. As we know that since the old aircraft use the old component, it will tend to occur many problems at the engine that will tend also to increase the maintenance, and indirectly it will also increase the cost for the maintenance. Next is the very high cost for paying the manpower. As we know that paying the manpower is the second largest cost for an airline industry after fuel, and for this cost the airline must spend a lot of money for paying the manpower such as the pilot, the engineer, and also the cabin crew. The next point is the airline also must be considered for the training purposes cost. For example, the airline also must spend a lot of money to hire the specialists and also send their manpower for the training costs. For example, I would like to give an example for the ECAM system, which the airline must hire the specialists for the ECAM system and also train their manpower such as the pilot, the engineer, and also the cabin crew to be familiar with the ECAM system. So to conclude all these points, it states that and it's proof that the very high cost is one of the point or reason why acquiring the aircraft. So guys, the next reason for the replacement of existing capacity is because of unacceptable noise and also emission. Certain countries such as the Europe, they have their own regulation and also law on the emission and also noise parts that must be followed by all the airline industry that operate under that country. The airline that operate the aircraft at that country must be not exceed the limit that been set by their regulation on the noise and also the emission. For example, the old aircraft that use old component such as the bearing and also the shaft, the engine. Sometimes the friction occur between the bearing and also the shaft that will produce a lot of noise that exceed the limit that being set by that country. So this is the reason why the aircraft must be replaced, to improve the environmental performance and also to reduce the emission and also noise problem.
So next point for replacing aircraft capacity is the next point is inadequate passenger appeal. So airline will tend to look for the latest trend of what have the market had offer. This is part of the way of how airline competing to its rival by looking at the latest trend. This is the direct connection on how the passenger behave towards the product that airline had offer, and at the end of the day, it will enable the customer to select the best product according to their preference. All this contribute to a comfortable and relaxing travel experience. For example, the interior environment of the aircraft and the right comfort. For next point is environmental friendly. So in this point, the airline will maintain the same network and flight frequency, but they are using the new aircraft. The reason for their using the new aircraft is because of the environmental friendly. It will save cost for the long run, and the airline will have an aircraft with new technology. For the other purpose, they change to the new aircraft is because for the security and safety purposes.
Next, the reason is additional mission or task. For the additional mission or task, the airline need to find aircraft that capable to do the same task but more efficient and more effective in order to replace the old aircraft which is can reduce more costs maintenance. For rationalization, the airline also need to add more aircraft to make sure the new mission align with their capacity strategy of marketing.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Another reason why we should acquire an aircraft is the fleet rollover policy. Some airlines have their own policy on how long they should own their fleets. This ongoing fleet rollover policy intend to maintain a low average fleet age. This initiative help the airline to maintain their fleet capacity and maintenance method. Another reason why we should acquire a new aircraft is because of the limited remaining structural life. Every matter have their own structural life lifespan. Like this an old aircraft, this aircraft also have their own structural life lifespan. The more we use, the shorter the remaining lifespan. Anything that related to aircraft is a very high phase involving technology. It is about the issue of security and safety. Many aircraft fleets around the world have been used. Their aircraft is beyond their intended lifespan, and it is not more. When we use more than their lifespan, it's not towards eco-friendly or environmental friendly. It will cause a severe problem to our environment, and that's why we should acquire a new aircraft. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. The next fundamental reason for acquiring aircraft is growth capacity. Growth capacity means the demand for air transport continue to grow. This is the reason why an airline need to change the old aircraft. Among the reason, all aircraft are expensive to operate and not environmental friendly. And there is also need for an airline to increase the capacity due to the following reason. The first reason is growing within existing network. When an airline is growing, the reason of having a new fleet is to add more frequency and route. This is especially when a particular route that an airline operate have higher demand and developing. The need of a new aircraft is to fulfill the growing of the demand of air traffic. The air traffic coming from the development of network and route, or to improve the market share that an airline have. The growing demand in principle can be met by using large aircraft and maintaining frequency. By operating more of the same aircraft at higher frequency, or the combination of both. It can also be made by increasing the density, accepting the highest load factor, code sharing, and through the leasing strategy. The next reason the airline increasing the capacity is because of the new mission. New mission focus on an airline plan to have a new aircraft for a new network or route requirement which cannot be fulfilled by the existing fleet. So capacity might be needed to satisfy the new mission requirement due to the fact that current airline capability of existing fleet cannot match the demand from the market.